What's going on, people? I want to share a dream I had a couple of nights ago. I was trying to wait to see if I can remember more of the details in this dream, and I can only remember bits and pieces of the dream. It's not like I can tell a whole consistent story about what was happening in the dream, because there's a lot of parts that's missing, and maybe it's missing for a reason. Now, it's interesting because whenever I start making videos dealing with the supernatural, the unseen, then the devil reveals himself to me. He makes himself known to me of his displeasure of what I'm talking about, for whatever reason. Now, I have a dream channel on YouTube that I recently had created. I had to remake that dream channel because the first dream channel, YouTube had deleted the channel for whatever reason. Had no community strikes, no guideline violations or nothing, but one day I woke up, the channel was gone, and to date they refuse to give the channel back. So I had to create another channel, and I uploaded a lot of the old dreams that was from that channel onto this one. I'm gonna also start uploading more of my dreams, but this one kind of stood out to me. It was kind of weird, and not to say that the rest of my dreams aren't weird, but like I mentioned in the past, I've been dreaming since I've been a child, okay? And the only place this particular video is going to be on is my dream channel and the Fearless 2005 channel. After this video, the only dreams that I'm going to post on YouTube is going to be uploaded to the dream channel, which I'm going to put a link on the bottom. And if you want to subscribe to that channel, feel free to do so. But the dream, I'm going to try to give as much as I can. And it's going to seem kind of spacey, because there's a lot of events that's missing that I can't seem to remember. And again, maybe it's for a reason that I don't remember certain parts of this dream, and maybe it's not even important for me to remember that. But I was in Midtown Manhattan, and it was not really daylight. It was cross between day going into night. And in this dream, I was on my way somewhere. I don't know where I was going, but I ran into this tall white dude that looks quite familiar to me. He looked like he stood about maybe 6'5", and pretty big white dude, blonde hair, and he had on what appeared to be a trench coat. Okay, just a regular beige color coat, And so he said, well, you know what? I'm going the same way. We can go together, right? So we walk in Midtown Manhattan. We ended up at this house. He said, well, I gotta stop over here because I have to get something. So I'm like, okay, no problem. So we stopped at this house, and in this house, and it didn't look like it was New York anymore, right? It didn't look like it was Midtown anymore. Some other place, someplace foreign, I don't know. But this house was there. He said, I have to stop over here for a second. So we stopped at this house, and outside this house was what looked like a collection of old vehicles. They were real old vehicles, and they were only big enough for one individual person to be inside that car. They had a lot of dust on them where they had been sitting for a certain period of time, and they were very expensive vehicles. So the guy, he had a key. He went inside this house. He came back out. He had a key. He unlocked this box to kind of get to that car or whatever. He had a key, so he started the vehicle up, and he was sitting there looking at it, and And one of the little boys that lived at this house, there were two boys that lived there, and a lady, the mother. One of the little boys, the oldest one, got inside the car. He cranked the car up, and he must have hit maybe like the reverse, but the car kind of jerked back a little bit, and he kind of yelled at the little boy, had the boy get out. So the boy got out the car. The guy said, well, I have to go, and I don't know if he was going to put gas in the car or whatever, but he says, I'll be right back. So he's telling me I'll be right back. So this guy gets in the car, leaves me at this house with these people that I don't even know. So he gets in the car, he drives off. So I walk inside this house because I was outside for a little bit. Then I walked inside the house. The woman was sitting on a sofa that was on the left-hand side of me, and then there was two little boys in there. Now there was this one particular boy that kind of stood off in the distance in the doorway, which looked like it was going inside another room. And he was sitting there, and he had this very intense stare at me, like he was actually looking inside my soul. He had two big black rings around his eyes. You know how back in the day when they drew a picture of somebody having a black eye, they took two big rings around? Well, he had two rings around his eyes, and he was just sitting there looking at me with this very intense evil stare. And then he started growling at me, right? So I'm trying to play it off because I don't know these people, and I'm waiting for this man to come back, right? Whoever he was. And I found out when I saw that car collection, I knew the man he had a lot of money. He was a very wealthy man, right? But I didn't know that when I first met him. But he's a real wealthy dude. So, and he owned this unique car collection. But anyway, the little boy was sitting there just staring at me. So he was like just growling at me. And then he looked like he was about to attack, but the mother stopped him. You know, she stopped him and calmed him down and whatnot. So I'm standing there like waiting. So then there was another little boy, the brother of this kid, right? And so I figured, I said, okay, I'm gonna kind of play it off, and I'm gonna play with these little kids, right? Because I don't know these people, and I'm sitting there waiting for this dude to come back, right? So I'm playing with this little kid, right? And he turned around, and I picked him up. You know how you pick a little child up, like you're gonna put him in the air, like you know, woo, like that. So I picked the little boy up in the air, and the minute I touched that little boy and picked him up in the air, I felt a very sharp, I can't even really describe the sharpness of this. It was so sharp. It was sharper than any knife or blade that I ever knew. And when I picked the little boy up, I felt this sharp blade or this fingernail going down the back of my neck, like scratching, like cutting it open. Now, keep in mind, it didn't cut me open. There was no blood, no nothing, but I can just feel the sharpness of this fingernail going down my neck when I picked this little boy up. And so I put him down, and he like kind of stood back, and he growled at me like he was some type of animal. You know, he just growled, and he had this extremely intense evil look. I wish that I can even describe the demonic look, like the demon inside this boy. I'm not even talking about how the boy looked, but the demon, the spirit that was in this child, was so hateful and angry toward me that it was as if it was looking through my soul, and it just sat there and just wanted me, and it was just sitting there just growling at me, just intense evil. I can't even find words to express what I was seeing. And when I felt that fingernail going down my neck, I put that little boy down, and he just stood back and growled at me like he was about to attack. And at that moment, I woke up. Okay, so, and I woke up, and I had to actually feel the back. It felt so real. I had to kind of like feel the back of my neck to see if maybe in my sleep I probably scratched my head, or because sometimes I have a habit of you know, having knives. I have a knife, and if I'm picking my finger or whatever, you know, I'll have a habit of like leaving the knife on the bed or something like maybe there was a knife that kind of like cut, and I kind of put my hand back, did it feel, and there was no blood or anything like that. So but I noticed that whenever I start talking about the unseen and start making videos revealing certain things, and only certain people, when I make those videos, only certain people are able to hear what I'm saying. You know, to the rest, it's going to sound interesting, it's going to sound scary, it's going to sound deep, or whatever words they want to use to describe it. But there's only a certain few individuals that can really relate to some of the videos that I make regarding the spirit realm, because they hadn't been there. You know, you can't really talk about what you don't know or what you have not experienced, right? And it's easy for people to get online and pretend like they're on a spiritual journey, or the devil's after them, or they had this and this nightmare, unless you've actually dealt with demonic energy. Demonic energy is like no other energy that is even known on this planet. It's extremely different. You could take the most evil person in this country or on this earth, you cannot compare the energy of that evil person with pure demonic energy, especially when you upset the spirit of darkness, and now the spirit of darkness have some type of vengeful spirit towards you. And you don't really know, unless you have the spirit of discernment and you pray refuge and seek refuge in the Most High, you're not going to know how this entity or this energy is going to attack you. So right now my eyes are just open. I'm sitting back watching and observing in every direction, not just north, south, east, and west, up and down, but in every direction, every angle, 360 degrees and more. I'm observing and sitting back watching to see what this spirit was that was possessing this little boy in this dream. So feedback, tell me what you think. I'm going to put the link to my dream channel on the bottom. Check out the videos on that channel, subscribe. Until next time, I'm fearless.